It may be tempting to trade all of this for one of these, but should you be making that trade right now? We'll try to answer that question in this video as we explore. The short answer to that question is a hard no, but there are some caveats, and I'm going to explain what those are here in a moment. Summit Metals is a place you can go to buy and sell your gold or silver, and some would say that if you sell back some of your metals, you can just take the proceeds from that and buy another metal. But remember, any dealer, whether they be online or at a local coin shop, they want to make sure they come out okay in the end of that and minimize their risk. And that should partially answer your question, especially in today's market. But experience the customer service that Summit Metals has to offer for yourself. Elevate your wealth by clicking on the link in the description below to check them out. So, silver and gold. Well, with what we saw, especially in the last trading day, the gold to silver ratio had narrowed to below 72. But what you have in front of you here on your screen is 73 ounces of silver. Added 3 more here. Just in case the markets move, as they are starting to do right now as I record this video, not in silver's favor, but more in gold's favor. See, silver is much more wild and erratic than gold. It's a very volatile metal in comparison. And so people are thinking, well, I better get in and do this before things change. And of course, if you would have traded yesterday, in the last trading day, you would have been in a better position than you were today. But still, 73 to 1 is still pretty good, considering that we have been seeing the gold to silver ratio hovering around 80 for a long time. And many people are thinking that we are pretty close to being near the normal now, with gold to silver ratio being somewhere in the high 70s and low 80s. So this provides an opportunity. So should you do it? Well, there's only one way where I think it will make sense, and it doesn't have anything to do with the physical, but I'll get to that in a moment. When you buy your silver, you are paying a premium for it. You are not paying spot price for it. And so the price that you paid for the metal, depending on when you bought, well, you're not really getting the exact ratio out of it, even if you were to trade it based off of the spot price from one metal compared to another. Hence why the ratio is what it is. But your ratio will be very different than somebody else's ratio, depending on the kind of silver you bought and the premiums you paid for it. Now here I have examples of regular bullion silver bars that would be considered low premium. Most local coin shops, by the way, will sell these things for, privately issued price, or what's known as generic price, for most of these types of bars. Silver Eagles sell at a premium, especially these days. There's a higher premium for these, and you will get more back for them when you go to sell them. But remember, this market is very different now. Not all silver is created equal. Hence why I got these silver dimes for under spot price. And if I were to go to sell them back to the local coin shop, they may not even take them. And if they are going to take them, I'm going to get much back behind the spot for them. Same thing for Eagles. You may get spot price for them. You may get a little bit more than spot price, but not much. If you were to get them, it just depends on what on the shop or the dealer is as to what they are buying and selling. Gold does not suffer that same scenario and situation. Most places will take gold and can move gold quicker and more economically. In other words, they're not left holding the bag with gold as much as they would be with silver. Silver, believe it or not, provides a little bit more risk, especially in this market when a lot of people are selling, especially since we've been seeing silver reach all-time high after all-time high in the last few days. Some people feel this is the top of the market, and they're selling a whole bunch of it right now. Anecdotally, I'm seeing that at my local coin shop, and I'm sure that's happening repeatedly around the country and maybe even around the world. People are wanting to profit from their silver holdings, or they need to sell for one reason or another. Now, they're selling gold too, but there's a case where some people are still buying gold. Gold's just a little different as far as how it's handled. But nonetheless, you are more at risk with your silver holding it or selling it than you are gold at this point. And that's the only way a coin shop is going to be able to work that deal with you. They need to be able to profit on any moves and mitigate risk on any moves they do with you. I don't know of any shop that trades straight up based off the spot price from one metal or another. It's very rare, and when it does happen, it's got to work in their favor. In other words, they've got to know that they can move silver more than they can move gold. And in some cases, they can, depending. I think usually it would happen with silver eagles, but if I replaced all these eagles with privately issued or what is known as generic rounds, my guess is that would be a very different trade than if I was to go into my local coin shop with these silver pieces that you see before you here. So I would say that it is a hard no. You should not make that trade. And honestly, there's a very rare instances where you do that in the physical realm, because especially if you're doing it after just recently purchased silver bullion. The longer you hold, the better off you're going to be with anything with regards to precious metals, gold or silver. It's a no-lose situation in the long run, but it can be a lose situation in the medium term, or at ill-timed long-term holdings, depending on how and when you bought, adjusted for inflation and all that. But especially short-term, there's disadvantages there. So keep that in mind. Very important to understand. Now, in what way would it be beneficial to you to do that? And that is in the paper markets, in ETFs, the derivatives, because those trades are very, very small in terms of fees, somewhere around 0.5% depending. So there's minimal risk in terms of premiums that you pay in order to make those trades. But remember, you're not really trading physical ounces. All you are doing is just trading the exposure to the price of one metal for the exposure to the price of another metal. That's it. It's not really trading the ratio. It's just transferring risk or opportunity. And when you think about it like that, it kind of puts it into perspective. What I feel and what I have been doing is once I felt like I have enough silver in my stack, I concentrate on the other metal, gold. You can pack a lot more value in a tighter space. And as I record this video, and again, it could be very different by the time you watch this video a couple hours from now, it's trading just under 73. So I've got 73 ounces of silver here, but look at all the space this takes up compared to the space that 1 ounce of gold takes up, and how much more stable the price of gold is compared to silver. I think this is why if I were you, I would just consider accumulating gold in a different way, or maybe buying a little less silver. If you feel you're heavily weighted in silver compared to gold and you really want to get into the gold market, sell your silver privately. There's other ways to do that. Be safe while doing it. Understand the rules and tips and ways to protect yourself online, or if you're meeting in person to make those trades, rather than selling to a local coin shop or bullion dealer. There's ways to sell silver in that way where both parties can win, and you'll get hit less in that regard. But you got to know how and when to do that. I think that's a better way to do it if you're going to make that happen, where you're not going to lose out as much. But honestly, in my stance, I feel like I have enough silver. There's plenty of people that have a whole lot more than I do, and in some ways, I feel like I should get more. But I also feel like I'm underweight on gold, and so therefore, I'm just buying less silver and spending more money on gold. It takes a lot more, patience, persistence, and perseverance to save up enough to buy a full ounce of gold. But there's other ways to get gold too, in fractional sizes too. It doesn't always have to be an ounce. There's lower premiums, it seems, these days for some of the smaller sizes out there too. That's what I would do in a situation like this, rather than losing out, and taking a massive hit on bringing in 72 ounces of silver or 73 ounces of silver for 1 ounce gold, which, by the way, you're going to get clobbered on that deal. Or you can use any ratio for a half ounce of gold or a 10th ounce of gold or what have you. You do the math on that. But nonetheless, the key here, folks, is You're essentially selling one to get another, and I'm a strong proponent of holding your metals, both of them. I love silver for what it has been for thousands of years and the fact that it's money outside the system. Hold on to it tight. When you stack gold or silver, when you have them both in your hand, you want to squeeze them very tightly with a tightened grip, just like this. That is having a diamond fist with your precious metals. That is imperative if you're a stacker. And by the way, that really is an amount to holding your core stack. There are aspects of your stack that you may set aside to sell at a time of need or a time of opportunity. No problem with that at all. But I think having a core silver stack, a perma stack, if you will, is absolutely paramount for any real stacker out there. Let me know what your thoughts are on this topic. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. We'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.